Hello all, welcome back to Melanin Madam. Before we get started, I need to open up with make sure that you subscribe. Also click the bell. Click the bell because guess what, family? I cannot keep sending you guys messages that say, hey, I'm going live. Like, we have automation now, so if you hit the subscribe button and hit the bell, YouTube will tell you. It will let you know. Tonight, our topic is actually going to be a good one. But before I get into the topic, I'll allow everybody to introduce themselves, and then we will go from there.
Still, y'all,
Co-host.
Famous homie, we here again. Thursday night. It's been a minute, man. I'm ready. What's up, y'all? Like, subscribe, and share.
All right, everybody. This is Jojo Habanero. Everybody calls me Jojo. I'm your cigar specialist and resident ambassador on behalf of Africa. Why not?
So you've identified that that's where I'm kind of pitching. I'm just saying, if it makes sense, it makes sense. So
That's right.
Tonight's topic is, let me tell you where it came from. So this is where it came from. The media is going all crazy because over the last month, like this is not a good month for women, specifically Black women. They've made some dumb decisions, but on the other end of that spectrum, there's a lot of bullshit happening in the LGBTQ
Elemental P.
right space. So this is Rose says she's coming to Africa. That's twin. Yes, we are, Rose. So this is who I'm working with so that we can go to Africa. But in that space, first it was our bonus hole as women. That sounds so disrespectful. And then more recently, there was a trans, please don't, it's a man that is now a woman sometimes, has said that women are not the owners of periods. This isn't our space. We don't own it. And so there was clapback. And of course, because there was clapback, now it's like the Black trans community and Black women are going back and forth. But the question came up, why is it that it's only in the African American space, right? Everything actually is in the African American space. The divide and conquer is so crazy that it has now led to whether or not I can identify my vagina as a vagina and whether or not I want to be called cis. I'm not cis. I'm just a woman. I didn't ask you to come into our space and rename us, but that's what led me to where we are tonight. If we could put together all the best traditions and cultures and things that would move us forward as Black people, do you understand how dynamic we could be? So in the space of the Africans and African Americans, which to me is just a name, I'm African too. Why can't we put together the best cultures of African born and raised along with some of the American ones? Why does it have to be either or? Why does one want to think that they're better than the other? We're hurting ourselves and we want to point the finger at everybody else, but we need to hold ourselves accountable. So that's what led us to tonight's topic. So first of all, Ro and I are going. I've already talked to JoJo. And then second, that's the topic. So how do you guys feel specifically about that topic and what I've said thus far with the divide and conquer and the mending together? JoJo, you can go first.
I'll go.
I can go.
You go,
Okay.
go.
Okay.
Go ahead.
No, you good,
Go
bro.
Well, you know, there are a lot of things at play at the same time. I never want to approach a situation from a unilateral point of view. It's always going to be multi-layered. The layers we can control and the layers that we can't. The layers that we cannot control, obviously, we live in a place where our culture is not dominant, or the culture of the people that live here that look like us is not dominant. We also live in a culture where what's happening in the big cities tends to not necessarily be a reflection of what's happening in the smaller towns, and with everything that goes with it. Simple example, I highly doubt that in a small town, small place where people still have to hunt for their food, I highly doubt that they have this kind of problems and things to think about. So it's always going to be in a certain um, um, place, in a certain class where some of these um, conversations are going to happen. However, if those conversations are happening in spaces where that's the culture that tends to dominate, it dominates the media, it dominates the popular culture, you have to worry about the influence that it's going to have. My position is this: um, the things that are debatable, like feelings, opinions, those things can be debatable. But one thing is going to be for sure: the science is not going to move much depending on where you're going. And the science is very, very simple. Extensive work has been done, unless we're just not understanding something and we missed something. The science has been done extensively. Um, the way you're born, the way I like to describe it is like this, and I'm going to be very simple. I'm going to wrap this up. If a Tesla and a Honda CRV both were broken down and not working at the red light, there's no way that beyond being two cars that I would assume that they are the same. You would have to open up, obviously, go under the hood to be able to understand the differences. Yes, if both cars are not working, then they're both cars. Who cares? I understand that. If they're both stuck in front of a red light and they don't move, both cars, I don't understand that. Whichever car you go into that takes you from point A to point B, they're the same. I understand that to that degree. But I could never say that they're both the same. I would never be able to say that. And the conversation, the way it's being had, I mean, my personal opinion is that it's very delusional, not based in any kind of science or fact or anything like that. It's all feelings and emotions, and not that those things don't matter. They do, but they can't be all feelings and emotions. And I just wish,
That's
we
right.
kind of
Right
bring
there.
a little back of balance in a conversation that seems to have gone too far left, no pun intended. And so, yeah, that's my position on this.
Thank you.
Like that last part. I like that.
I'm glad you
Yeah.
said the word delusional, because the lady that responded first, which was Jess, she said at some point this becomes delusion, and they attacked her for that. But
Mhm.
it is. I like the story you gave, and it's true. So, brother.
Um, I mean, I have major respect and even love for the whole community of LGBTQ. Excuse me, and sorry if I'm forgetting the last two letters. I think there's two more, but
IA
major,
plus.
major love and respect. But let's I think on the trans part, it's kind of rough because you know again, respect to the transes, but just we have to be real about um, what something is. And women that are born women, I don't like the CIS thing. Women, you don't have to add that on there. It's women that are born a woman. It's true. They bleed every month. They have ovulation. They have periods. You know what I'm saying? And that's just what it is. You can switch over and do that operation and choose to become a woman from a man, but that real natural part is scientifically not feasible. We can't duplicate what God did, and that's for a woman to
Right.
have ovulation to have kids. So these topics come up again, like you said earlier, why the divide and conquer. I want to touch on that a little bit. This is just another way. You know, you got to think from the jump. They have divided and conquered us from the jump. That was the only way to defeat us and to even enslave us in the beginning. They had to divide and conquer. To keep us enslaved, they had to divide and conquer. So we don't know it, but we do this shit every day. We've been doing this shit in different ways from the jump, divide and conquer. Even with the whole team light skin against team dark skin. That shit is the stupidest shit I've ever heard in my life.
It's so disrespectful.
And we think the shit is funny, but it's not funny. It's
not.
Because I felt coming up when I was younger, I did feel that light-skinned girls thought they was too good. Like, that's just the way they made us feel on God. Like, no disrespect to them. I'm sure some of them see the light, but it's little microaggressions. Such, I'm gonna give you a good example. How many times have you heard the phrase "good hair"? What is good hair? Why do we say good hair? So when you call your good hair good, because
I mean everybody else bad.
It's not coarse. You're saying my coarse hair is bad hair, nappy hair. Why do we run with that term? That's shaming some of the, our own people. But they make us do this shit and we don't even recognize it. I had somebody that was around my daughter one time that I was talking to, and my daughter was talking about changing her hair color, dyeing her hair color, and the girl was light skinned, and she stood up here and told her, "Oh, I can do that. I'm light skinned, but you can't." And I'm sure she didn't mean no harm behind it, but this is,
you did mean harm behind that. She told that to your daughter?
Yes, and I'm like, you know what I'm saying? But so it's just,
you be giving a lot of passes for bitches that need ass whooping. But go ahead.
No, I do, but I'm saying, like, I just think on the strength of a lot of these microaggressions, such as the good hair thing, such as the attitude growing up with light skinned girls, like, and light skinned people, period. Light skinned dudes think they better than it.
Right.
They call themselves pretty. They call themselves pretty niggas. Those are the pretty boys growing up, the light skinned niggas with the curly hair. So this is the divide and conquer that we do every day. We divide and conquer in so many different ways, and this is just another way to divide and conquer. We're never gonna, come up get up if that's how we get down. We're never gonna get up if that's how we get down. We keep getting down like that and doing divide and conquer, whether it's sexuality, gender, light skin and dark skin, class, like the class. That's another divide and conquer. How many people that come up from being broke or having nothing, and they get a little bag, and now they shitting on everybody. Now everybody's a bum bitch. Now every nigga's a dirty, broke nigga. Look what we do to each other. We get a bag and start shitting on each other instead of teaching everybody else the game, or
helping with that money to turn it into more money.
Like, you know what I'm saying? This is what we do to each other, and that's what we got to hold each other accountable. We can change that. We don't have to come up and then start calling everybody broke bum bitches because you got a little something. Like, no, that shit is not cool, but that's what we do to each other. So, I didn't mean to be long-winded, but I think that's part of that. That's exactly what it is.
If I could add, usually when these situations happen, they're usually a distraction. Every time you watch the news, the real news will be the little band at the bottom of the screen where all the stuff is scrolling slowly. That's what the real news is. 2 days ago, there was a coup in Niger, a country in Africa. Coup d'etat in Niger, where the government was overtaken. And that's with French presence there still, 5,000 military soldiers. And Niger is a producer of lithium. People don't understand there's lithium in your batteries.
Right.
French people are going to find a way to extract that without having to pay for it. What that does is the next time you want to find yourself in an electric vehicle that has a battery with lithium in it, France will be able to produce it on the cheap, so expensive, maximize your profit. Always keep your eyes open because there's always a distraction. Something bigger is happening in the background. I just want people to keep their eyes on that.
We literally just talked about that. So I was saying that this month is ending, and because so much has happened this month, it's almost like if you're in media, you can't catch it fast enough unless you do videos every day. So I'm going to start going live every day because there's certain things that I want to touch up on, but they'll have like 3 parts, right? Because you want to discuss it from the parts that were good out of it, what's bad, and then where we're accountable. Okay. And you need to do them fast because they can't be spread apart. So ironically, I was just talking about that. The other thing is that I think that instead of looking outward, which is why I picked this topic that we're going to get into in about 10 minutes, is because it's so much that happens inside of a home, right? So ironically, who I am here with right now, I tell you guys about my godmother, who is my cousin, and then my cousin, who's the reason why I went to school. She don't have no kids. I'm like her daughter. All that good stuff, they're here. Interesting. One is light and one is dark, right? So I talk about and brag about the amazing way that I got to be brought up within my family that contributed to me not having some of the problems that other people have, but then it didn't prepare me for how the world would treat me. I think that if we could start with our families, with the men leading, right? And again, bringing together what's the best. We've come far. We have choices and we have options that we do have control over. Mm-hmm. So let's focus on those. And to me, it starts with husbands. It starts with head of household, even if it's a male in a home. And then it's led by the male. And then the woman needs to properly know how to be an helpmate because she's very important to the home as well. If we can start to rebuild our homes with culture, tradition, morals, values, and those type of things, we wouldn't produce the type of kids that we are seeing now and saying who raised them and blaming it on them instead of saying, what did that parent do? Because that's crazy, right? We're not putting the blame where it belongs. We don't internally put the blame on ourselves. And then when you have a platform like mine, where I'm coming out and saying, no, everything I talk about, I want it to be about us. But here's the thing. I'm not finna tell you your shit don't stink. I'm not finna tell you that you're amazing. I actually want to call out the things we doing because since we air our shit out anyways, let's air it out and show that we actually making changes. So that's what's important to me. Those platforms are a little different. Do I know I'm going to be attacked? I do. I was attacked for the first time a couple weeks ago talking about reparations, which everybody else has gotten except for us. Then we have, we're going to put slavery into the school books, but we're going to put it in there so that we can tell you how amazing you are because of how fucked up we treated you. But we're not going to write it like that. We're going to say, well, at least you got to be really smart. Yeah, but we built your home. We built your business. You put your name on it. And now at the starting line where we're talking about, can we start at that starting line? Basically, now you're throwing the shit back in our face to say, well, we know you did that starting line. We're going to give you all the acknowledgement, but we're not going to give you the credit, the money, we're not giving you any of that. But we will acknowledge that we did this to you and we didn't really ask you, we forced you. We broke you all the way down. We called you not a person and all of these things, but we did it for you. Why isn't it amazing? I wish they would. I wish when they put those books in those schools, if any black parent don't burn that fucking book, you getting your black card taken.
Come on.
Because this don't make no sense. We need to start protesting again. And with schools, it matters. Everything else, let me tell you what I'm not going to do. I'm not protesting for nothing. Because walking, what does that do? I do things that do things. Because people go to those things, they walk and they protest and they come home and nothing is done. In your home, you have control. Going forward from at any point, you could be a better person. I was a different type of woman before the one that I am now. I'm very proud of the one that I am now. But I had an amazing support system around me that wasn't afraid to tell me where my errors were. And I received them because those people also loved me. So I would like to ask, what is one of the things that you think where a male could lead and it could make a home better? And it can either be from something you've seen in African culture or American, that we could fuse them together and it would be a good starting point. Bueller.
I went first the last time. Go ahead.
Okay, sis, can you re-ask me that question again? Sorry.
No problem. So, as males with your own home, what is an area or a tradition or something cultural that you think that we could adopt into our homes to make them better going forward? So it should be surrounding family, but what can a male do? Like if you saw your homeboy and he was totally effing up, you would say, what advice would you give him so that we can start being better?
Well, the first thing we got to do is, we can't do nothing about the decisions we made already, but
right.
Pass on the knowledge. Pass on the knowledge to the ones next up. So a lot of us have grown kids coming up. My oldest daughter will be 18 in a couple months. So, you know, she's becoming an adult, and I can teach her to make different decisions. So one decision I think that we all, you know, make that impacts us a lot because of things that we went through is a lot of us are having kids so young.
That was going to be mine. Okay.
And not knowing yourself, and then you're having kids with people that you don't know. So we got to fall out of this. That one thing I don't agree with is getting in relationships young and trying to have somebody like that very young, because you don't know anything at that age. We know this now, but you know, you don't know anything at that age, and you think you know somebody, so you down for him and you ready to have his baby, and you don't know how he is as a father, so you end up having a baby by a piece of shit. So I'm alluding to, you know, absent fathers in the homes. We have to be present. That's one thing that we have to correct. We have to be smart and we have to be present. So we have to teach our sons to be present. We have to lead by example and teach our sons to be present and teach them to make better decisions as young adults, things that our parents didn't necessarily discuss or prepare us for with as young adults, making these bad decisions that's leading to us going through things and shaping our minds. And by the time we 30, 35, we fucked up because we done been through so much trauma that we could have avoided by being prepared differently. So I think the first thing we can do is teaching our kids and next generation to make better
slow down.
decisions. Slow down. You don't ever that all that's gonna be there for the rest of your life. All that love shit, all that thinking you got a real one, all that shit gonna come later. You gotta get to know yourself. You gotta love yourself, and you gotta build yourself first before you think about giving half of yourself to somebody else. So that will lead to more fathers in the homes, because a lot of these kids are fucked up because, or at least in our generation, where we baby boomers, we're fucked up because we didn't have fathers in the home. So we have to become present. We got to teach men to stay present, and we got to teach these kids to make better decisions in their youth.
Yep, because we didn't do anything we didn't have fathers in the home, and then we didn't do anything to make sure that what you lacked, your next one had. And so that's one of the main things that was beaten into my head. One, if you have that baby, it's your baby. Two, it's selfish because you're making a decision for you, but it's going to impact them. And then the other thing that went into with that was that I needed to get my education first. I needed to build myself and be ready. You want a family. You don't just want a baby. You want that man to be ready, because you're right. People is having kids and they can't even rent a car yet. You having a baby but you haven't put as much time into your education. And dating at that age, you guys should be talking about what you want to do with your future. The man that I dated at that age was in college and met my family, but he encouraged me to go to school. You guys aren't having the right conversation. So I agree. That's a good one. It's actually one I was going to guess, but now trying to hurry up and think of another one. Jojo, what's yours? What's one of yours?
My position is slightly different. I'll piggyback off of what the famous homie said. My position is slightly different.
Okay.
To me, it's like this. This family thing has been done for so long. Why did we throw away the parts that worked?
Right.
To me, it's like we're trying to figure out this new thing of how to do this thing new.
No, it's not new.
We may not have to. It's not new. And if it worked for a group of people at some point in time in the past, why not simply go back to that? I presume plus or minus the parts that are not adaptable because we're in a different time now. So adjust it and adapt it for it to fit what we have going on right now. But just simply go back to what used to work, and what used to work, again, only keeping the best parts. I'm not saying you should take everything.
Right.
Some parts of it are bad and some parts of it should change. I am not saying that it should remain intact. But you're sitting here trying to invent a new thing when the thing has been working and the ball has been rolling for thousands and thousands of years. Just simply go back to that, which is very simple. Play to each other's strengths, submit to each other's areas of expertise, come to the table in good faith, and plan for the long term. Just
Can you repeat
so simple.
that last one you said? Plan
You
for
say
the first of all, plan.
yeah, plan,
Don't nobody
yeah.
know what that
It's a,
word means.
there we go. It's just a plan for the long haul. It's a very, very long, slow game. Like anything, it's just, you know. And if it seems too long for some people who think that they're gonna get bored, break it up every 5 years, redefine your thing, make it new, and keep it going. I mean, I don't understand what's the big idea of trying to find something new when it's being done. You know, it's been done. Play to each other's strength, come to the table with in good faith. That's it. That's what
I
I would do.
agree.
And
So-
if that means you meet someone young and you get them young and you guys are together young, as opposed to waiting till later, do it young, but seek the advice of the people whose relationship you want to emulate, and just follow the instructions and adapt it to what works for you. Why wait? Because all you're doing is just reinforcing bad experiences, bad behaviors, or at least the opportunities for them. I'm not saying you will, but I'm saying it can happen. If you could get married at 25 as a man, or I mean, as a woman, maybe not as a man, because as a man at 25, I think of myself at 25 years old. I may have been ready mentally, but financially, I simply was not. And so, you know, maybe a little bit later for men, but for the ladies, you know, find a way to make it work. And like you said, ask the questions that matter. And if you don't know what questions to ask, there are people who did it before. Go find out. I mean, what's the excuse now? Everything is on the internet. Go find out what worked. Go find out what people used to do, and read and inform yourself on emulating the relationships that you want, and then start asking the questions that matter when you meet somebody. If you do it young, do it. If someone, you know, wants to do it young, go ahead and do it. If it's someone at church, if it's someone in your circles, you've seen them. Now, granted, perhaps in certain circles you haven't seen certain things enough and you wouldn't know where to go. I understand that. Before the internet, I could understand there's nowhere to go. But with the internet and everything having a phone, you can look stuff up. I mean, I'm not saying you don't have an excuse, but your window for excuses is really thin. You know, go look for the information that works and just try to make it work. I don't understand what's so different. The way the world is and we die so much later. Imagine a time where people used to live until they were 40, 45 because of diseases. People got their parts of their lives straightened up very quickly and it worked for them. Why not just simply pick the best ideas of what used to work and just simply do it?
I think because the world, so first, those are good ones as well. I have them written down. So I really want to touch on something that you said because it's an aha for everybody. This generation, and just this culture, it's people that are our age that are doing it. They want to be the first one to be that. They want to be the creator of that hashtag so bad, right? That they don't even pay homage. We saw it, best example, at the damn BET Awards. I need you to explain to me how, first of all, it was a everybody gets a trophy type of thing. I loved it, but it was the most disrespectful shit ever. Here's the reason why. We were celebrating 50 years. Those 30 years that started that, it should have dominated the show. It shouldn't have even been as much new people. And if it was new people, name one show. This is what I noticed. I went back and really analyzed it because it spoke to me from the beginning. I saw right away, oh, y'all trying to mesh the old with the new. But why are you trying to mesh the old with the new? Oh, because they don't give a damn about the old. They don't even know where they came from. So you're not even paying homage to the person who beat you using, because you don't even know where it came from. You heard it on TikTok and you went and found the TikTok one, but you don't know where it originated, right? Beyonce didn't make that song. That song was out before, right? Before I let you go. Then you think about y'all, they want everything so fast. They want to be praised and worshiped and act like you just, because you worked so hard. You didn't, you put a lot of work into it, but because of everything that was done before you, you didn't have to build that computer or even know what goes into it. You could simply make an app by touching a couple buttons, but you don't even respectfully go back to say, well, why am I doing this? Who all did it as well, so that I can know who to talk to. They don't care about who to talk to. That's number one. Number two is also that we find a lot of information because we're information seekers. They are hashtag and trend seekers. So if they found a couple like Erica Campbell and her husband, married couple, no things in the tabloids, Christian couple, there's a lot of things out there about them as a couple. They're going to look at, oh, that's boring. Oh, that's the old way of doing it. When did morals turn into an old thing? That's one thing we respected. When we were told about morals and things like that that would make us better, we didn't reject it or talk to our elders like, oh, that's the old way of doing it. With morals and values? How? To your point, if it worked, why would you just want to say that? JoJo will be back. He just sent me a message that is power. So basically stuff. Why would you want to not pay attention to the good things that will help you? But if it's a trend, people popping off, those type of things, oh, you believe that though, but you don't believe the parts that are real. You don't believe the couples that are saying, yes, I had issues, but we worked through them. I hung in there. You don't ask them more. You only want to know about the material things from those couples. Well, do y'all got a house? Are you important? Who are you? We listen to people because they were our elders. We listen to people because we appreciated that they sat down and talked to us. These days, if you don't have a what they think is substance behind you, they're not listening to you. So they're missing so much that they could have in this microwave season. And people don't want to wait and work for things. I think if I could do things over, would I have gotten married younger? I would have. But I would have gotten married younger because I knew what couples to go to. That's it. I just couldn't find a man worth marrying. That was the thing. Would I have married? I would have. I would have. And then once I positioned myself to not marry and focus, then the men I dated used that as the thing to use against me. But they weren't showing me anything that I should be marrying, simply telling me I was wrong for not being willing to marry and working on my stuff. That was a loaded response. He's getting his power back on. That was a loaded response, but he's right. It's not nothing new. If we still have couples, actually think about it. How many people don't have even one couple in their family that's been together for years and years that's not toxic? Even in the old age, they still talking about kids popping up and stuff. But then we use ones in the community too. It's ways to do things if you want to do it. I don't think people want it anymore. I think they want weddings. They don't want marriages. They want a baby so they could dress it up and put it on TikTok, but they don't want to be a mom and go to the park and just read to your kids and look at them and see what you can grow in them utilizing our resources. I don't think people want to do. I think they think it's boring. Where I love it. That's what I want.
I think not only that, I think in their defense, so just because couples are together don't mean that they should be together. Toxic relationships are not good to be in.
Oh, no.
And a lot of old school couples, just be real, the generation before ours, especially our grandparents, those women stuck with a men through bullshit.
Yeah, because they didn't have no way out. They didn't work.
You know what I'm saying? They stuck to bullshit and they were there. This is what they taught the next generation. No, stick by your man, stay married.
No matter what.
That. And this generation of women are saying, I ain't this shit. I ain't putting up with that bullshit.
Then why are they having babies?
Yeah, but still, even like some of the they aren't all bad. A lot of these women, they get with these dudes and be cool and be good women. And they end up being in a bullshit situation. They can't keep his dick in his pants, or they can't do this, can't do that, and they not dealing with it no more like that. So I think, in their defense, they're just not willing to put up with what our grandparents put up with, or maybe some of our parents put up with, which is bullshit just to stay married. Because you're not supposed to put up with bullshit. That shit could kill you. That shit
The
stress
brother,
kills you.
no. They
So
deal with more shit and not being married. They
that's
deal
true.
with more stuff, to your point, because this man is fine and this girl got an Instagram body. So to your point, they're not even slowing down to take the time to get to know that person. No, you're not getting married. That's not the end goal, is to do the best for you and to be happy under God, and to not, like you said, not to bring somebody else into this world that's not ready. They're not slowing down, but they are jumping into toxicity. It's like a thrill to them. It's like everybody's stuck on an amusement park ride. So
well,
why do you want that?
I think we're generalizing. That's a certain
Everything
percentage.
we say is going to be general.
Right, but there's a large percentage of them that are not on that are on good shit, and they just women and men, we're not putting up with it no more. We're not putting up with bullshit relationships. We're not putting up with bullshit that men or women is doing to us.
But they're having kids.
But
So
you're
you're
having
locking
kids.
yourself in forever. That's
Right.
worse than marriage. You're locking yourself in forever.
Right, and that makes it hard. So that's what I was saying earlier.
That's why I'm agreeing with what you said earlier. So stay on that path, because
we gotta
we're not
stop
making excuses.
having these kids so young, because you don't know a person.
And
Don't
fast.
know themselves. You don't know yourself at 20, 18, 19, 20, 21, 20. Shit, you gotta go through some shit first before you be able to really, really know who you are and what you're capable of. By the time you're 25, 26, you probably know what you're capable of as an adult.
Yeah.
You probably maybe haven't achieved it yet, but you know yourself.
But you've been through some things. Yeah.
Yes. 7 years. That means for a lot of people, 4 years of college.
Right.
For a lot of people, 7 years on a job.
Right.
Having your own place. You've done some things, and you know your tendencies. You know your habits. You know what you're going to do as a person after 7 to 8 years of adulthood. So
I think so.
You know, we avoid that by doing that. And if we could, that's why I say no, don't start young, because when you're young like that, you don't know shit. Now, a lot of relationships do work when they start young, but it's a lot of growing pains in that you can avoid from not starting so young, for being financially stable.
You're saying take some time to yourself to get to know yourself as an adult.
Absolutely.
That's true, because you've been under the covering of your parents and your village, so they've made most of the decisions. You haven't really done strategical thinking, like to get yourself out of something.
Right.
Yeah, go through some things first and get to know who you are as an adult. Because even if you change, because you're going to change.
Yeah.
I'm not the same age I was when I was 20 or 30, 40. I'm the best of all of them. And I believe that 50 is really going to be just dynamic because of the work I'm putting into myself. But real quick, I want to recap what he's saying, because it's important. I need you guys to understand, we're talking about foundational things, right? If you get to know yourself, example, I was presented with an opportunity in my 20s that would have gotten me money. It was fraud. It would have gotten me money. Everybody else around me was getting this money. My situation was the best to do it, to actually get it, right? I still said no. Those type of things being presented to you and how you work through them begins to show you who you are. So then, you know, if in my 30s, I'm around this group and something really enticing comes, I can still be around this group, enjoy the best of this group, but I trust myself with my decisions. I know who I am, because you're going to change, but you want to make sure that your values, how you think about things, you've built the right people around you. That's foundationally what Ron is saying. And then the top is like examples of it, but those things won't change. Because I know somebody's going to say, well, you change all the time. You're going to be somebody else. Your values don't change.
Your values and your tendencies, sis.
Your
so
tendencies.
For instance, if you're a procrastinator at 18, you're likely going to be a procrastinator as an adult. And you have to get to know yourself. So you don't know that until you've been through 8 years of procrastination. You're like, oh, well, this is just who the fuck I am. And then that's how you know you know how to.
How can I make it work?
But you can move around that. You say, okay, I know that I'm a procrastinator, so I got to move a certain way because I know I'm a procrastinator.
Right.
You're not ready to admit you're a procrastinator at 18, 19, 20. You in denial for a long time.
Right.
So
you don't even know what it looks like yet.
Exactly. So after years of fucking shit up and going through shit, you know what I'm saying? Fucking jobs up, fucking this up, fucking that up, fucking boyfriends up, girlfriend, whatever it is. then you finally realize, like, God damn, this is just who I am. So I have to
Right.
feel a certain way.
So what can
I
I do to fix it?
Exactly. So your tendencies
Right.
don't really change like that. Like you get to know who you are over the years. Once you find out who you are, then you could give yourself to somebody else. How you gonna give yourself to somebody else and you don't
A
even know who the
horrible
fuck you
mess.
are? That don't
Right.
make no sense.
Right. And hard-headed, so you don't even want to hear it. Jojo, when you could talk, let us know. It looks like you're frozen. Oh, you're not. Jesus.
No. I was listening. I wasn't moving. I was listening.
He was frozen for
Oh,
real.
Jesus. Didn't it? I'm like, I know I'm not the only one who thought that. Okay. I'm so sorry. Okay, go ahead. I can see y'all. I promise. Y'all know he looked frozen. Okay.
I
Go ahead.
apologize. I missed a little bit of the conversation. I apologize. I had to do
Okay,
it,
we
so.
could do another round.
Listen.
Rob, we could start with another question. So, my next question would be to Ron was talking about women and men are now not taking as much, so they're getting out before they get married. And my rebuttal was they're getting out, but they're also having children. So you're technically not getting out because in marriage, you can get a divorce and go your separate ways if there are no children. Once you have children, that's a lifetime commitment. Okay. There is no 18, there is no none of that. If you could advise your daughter, no, if you could advise your future wife, what would you want? What quality would you want in your future wife that you're not seeing as much anymore, that we did see in the past, and it was good, something that would be beneficial?
If I can think of something, I wrote these down. I actually
I love
wrote this down. Well, I did touch a little bit on that before I was interrupted, but I think what I don't see enough of. Well, one thing I would start with that. What I don't see enough of now, that I think is a really good ingredient in relationships, is the understanding that traditional gender roles weren't oppressive in nature.
Agreed.
And for some reason, the perception is that it was, or it could be. Now, it could be that's a true statement, but it was entirely not at all. And like I said, I urge everyone to really do their homework, and at least, like I said, pick the parts that work, whether they like it or not. You know, it's like you go to school, you don't like that you have to do homework, but you want your degree. You kind of have to study and do what you have to do, even though you don't like it. You may have to sacrifice a little bit of the partying and some of the stuff that you really wanted to do. Sometimes you want to do it. So same thing, where in relationships, you may have to apply some of that and draw some parallel from some of these other areas in life where you apply some of these principle, I would say. So I said earlier, we should play to each other's strengths. Now, let's say we both come in and have the same strength or similar strength in certain areas of a relationship. I think they should be divided along traditional gender roles.
Okay.
And I would like to believe that there is extensive biological implications to it, because I would say that there is somewhere, somehow, somewhere where we see in each other doing the things that are traditionally done by a particular gender. We kind of can appreciate. I would never be able to do what women do with kids. As much as I would like to pretend that I can, there's just something that women do with children that I know that I would never be able to do. And to pretend that I can do it is just doesn't, I can come close, I can try, but I would never be able to do it so effortlessly, so passionately, the way a woman would be able to do it. So if a woman would also extend that same understanding to a man, where there are just things that men do so well, if you think you can do it, fine. But I think it's just simply having an understanding and an appreciation that the traditional gender roles weren't always oppressive. And if you feel some of them were okay, keep the best parts, leave the ones that don't work. Now, you don't necessarily have to like them the same way you don't like to study before your degree. But if your degree is what you're looking for, your relationship or your marriage to be successful is what you're looking for, the same way you would put effort in your degree, doing some of the things that you may not like sometimes, I think you should just be able to apply some of those principles. And so that's what I would tell my daughter. I would tell my daughter, in this day and age, the mindset is that all of these old ways, all of it is bad and trash, all of it. I would I would suggest that she slows down on that. Uh, Another thing is equality doesn't mean sameness, and I don't like the way the idea is out there that this equality thing means sameness. What I mean by that is, again, playing to each other's strengths here. If I'm tall, I'm sure that height plays in at my advantage in certain situations. If someone is shorter than me, I'm sure that that height, albeit not the same as mine, plays in as an advantage in certain situations. And then the combinations of those situations, we bring those together, and then we understand that we each play a role, and we don't start, okay, well, because you can do this and I cannot do this, so you must be uh, getting one over me. It's almost never like that. I wouldn't want someone to be having that mindset and bringing that mindset into a relationship, assuming that that's how it's going to be, and you're going to lose out, and you're somehow have so much to lose. But the other person has a lot to lose too. You think you have time to lose? Everybody has time to lose. So that's just an example. Those are some of the things that I see in relationships nowadays, that if things were to stay the same and I was to advise my daughter, if I had one and she was of age, even as growing up, obviously I would tailor this to age appropriate, but the overarching lesson would be, to not approach relationship situations like that in such a defensive way, like someone is out to get me. Most people aren't like that.
Okay. So I have a question with that one. Gender roles, I agree with, and I think that we are born with the skill set, with the passion, with the special touch to do certain things. Women have theirs, and then men have theirs. Um, in bringing that more into today, unfortunately, the woman can't stay home, and so traditionally, the way things go is that the male is the protector, the provider, so mostly everything outside of the home. And then the woman is the house manager, the nurturer, um, and those type of things. But with the way it is now, both have careers, both have, work very hard. And so would you be willing to compromise the things that need to be taken care of? Because what's for the wife now is day to day. Those are things that happen every day. And so they will need to be split. So let's say she hated washing clothes. Would you say, okay, I wash the clothes, you cook and you do the dishes, or you cook and I'll do the dishes? Are there things within the household um, that a man should be willing to do, because where we are today is not where we were then? She's not at home all day. She's with you.
Yeah, absolutely. I did say earlier, you keep the best parts of what
Right.
people used to do, you adapt it to your reality of today. The assumption is that I'm going to have you standing cooking 3 square meals every day. I expect you to come home. And I mean, for those who have the love to do it and have the strength to do it, fine. If not everyone has the strength to do it, I would stay away from counting it that way. However, it is a reality that most people work 2 jobs now. like I said, I never like to approach a situation um, uh, in a unilateral way. So, for example, there's a couple of ways you can deal with it. This is what I would say. If you're a woman who find yourself dealing with a man and you find that man to be a decent man, whatever money you think you're bringing, leave under his lifestyle. If his lifestyle is decent enough for you. So he leaves a lifestyle where he can afford a vehicle, might not be a BMW, maybe a Honda, maybe a Camry. It won't be a
They just as
BMW.
much as the BMW these days, but I
Is
get what
it
you're
these
saying.
days? Okay, so my point is leave under his income so that your income is extra. Hopefully you put it back into the relationship. You guys can have it at savings because there will come days, times where you're having children and so on and so forth, and you don't feel like, you want to work and all these different things. I'm sure he feels this way too, but I'm sure he's going to take it upon himself. He's going to want to work anyways. So if he's making enough to where you can live under his income, just do that. Now, that's one way to do it. Again, you might not get the BMW, but you'll be okay. Now, if it's that important to you that the BMW lifestyle, private school, violin, AAU basketball, traveling team, all those things that you've never had, and I'm gonna do that for my children because I never had it. Okay, then find yourself with someone who's gonna want the same things. You guys put your monies together and and do those things. But some of these conversations need to be had like, look, sir, like, what do you expect of me? Obviously, we want this lifestyle. This lifestyle, you cannot do it on your own. I will have to contribute. So if I want this lifestyle and you do too, and you understand that it's going to take both of us our income outside the home, what that means is when we both come home, there are things that need to be done at home. How are we going to share this thing? So if whatever conversation, however they have it, the key ingredient here is to come in good faith. The things that are going to be on each other's plates. I think the best uh, way to approach it would be how can we make each other's plates lighter, helping each other, doing things like that. So obviously, I'll take my personal example. I enjoy very much watching my partner doing domestic stuff. I enjoy it a little too much. In fact, little secret, I might not let you finish because I will be bothering you. but but just watching you do it, there's something that the same way I would
The same way
presume
women like to watch men
women
in the
like to
yard and
watch
stuff.
men do
Mm-hmm.
men stuff. Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
So I am not asking you to mow the lawn. I am not asking you to mount the cabinet. I am not asking you to do these things. Now, obviously, those things don't happen every day,
Right.
but washing dishes may. Changing the kids' diapers may. Uh, Cooking may, depending on the type of lifestyle you guys want to have. I think most people find a way to, you know, figure it out these days. You cook for 2 days in a row, keep some food in the freezer,
Right.
eat leftovers on Thursdays, eat out on Fridays, boom, we're done. I mean, I don't know anybody who does it the way people used to do it, where it used to be 3 square meals every day. And I don't know anybody who does that anymore. So if people think that that's the expectation, let those expectations be clear that that's not what we're asking for. Now, obviously, with all that being said, the days that I really don't feel like, doing it, or the days that she really doesn't feel like doing it, it's basically the concept is 100-100, not 50-50. So I come in with my best intentions, you come in with yours. The day you have 30, it's all right. I got 70, it's all right. We're going to see it through. And the day I have 30 and she has the 70 for me, and then we go ahead and do it. I think it should be this way. So obviously, if you're a man, you come home and your woman has been at work all day, depending on the type of job she's doing. You know, obviously, if I'm lifting heavy stuff, it's not the same as being in an office 8 hours every day. However, it doesn't mean that office work is little work. It is work as well. You can be tired mentally, not just tired physically. But, you know, just, okay, you know what? Can we just, all right, I may not have the strength to pick up these, you know, jeans off of the floor. I'll do it tomorrow morning. And when you say you'll do it tomorrow morning, just do it tomorrow morning. And you'll find ways to make it work. For the dishes, I mean, pile them up in the dishwasher and turn the button, put the soap in. I mean, you know, and then the next morning, I guess, I mean, I don't know, do it on Fridays only. So that Saturday morning, I'm assuming if you're home Saturday morning, do it Friday night. If it piles up, I mean, depending on how much, again, during the week, are you guys eating 3 square meals all the time? I don't know anybody who does out here. So, you know, back home, I'm used to 3 square meals every day. But the way people work here, I haven't seen it happen. I just haven't seen with both parties working. I just haven't seen it. So whatever arrangement you guys have during the week that contributes to making these chores happen. But the most important thing is do not leave your partner with all this stuff on their plate and expect them to have the strength to come and attend to you in all the ways that you want to be attended to. And they've had all the stuff to do. By the time they get to you, they just are exhausted.
So one thing that you said that I want to identify, and I've noticed it with men that don't originate in the U.S., is that live under his income, which is good. We have that same ideology here. If you're financially responsible, you're generally supposed to live under one income so that you have the other one for flexibility. But that's the second layer. The first layer is that women don't just have careers because it's bringing in a check. You have it because it's a passion. So that's something that they do that makes them feel fulfilled in the world. And so not a regular, I'm talking about a career, right? You went to school for this. It's something you had a passion for. You put into it. Now I'm married. Would I scale back? Yes, I would scale back the way that I work for marriage, not to the point where it's going to give me career suicide though. So it needs to be some exception and acknowledgement. I'm saying this because it happens before you get to the table and discuss finance. Males are matter of fact problem solvers. Women have emotion more. So with that emotion comes, I obviously picked a career that includes my passion. So a man saying, oh, I figured it out. Babe, just quit your job. We can live under my income. Is almost like saying, don't feed a part of yourself. Let go of yourself to simply focus on this. And there needs to be a happy medium there. With the 2 incomes, I think that I like the living below your means and start thinking outside of the box, people. If cleaning is really hard, hire somebody to come in and clean. That way you can have more time for the relationship. Men, it's not about when we get really, really tired. It's about just coming in and seeing that it needs to be done and you do it. Don't wait till she gets really, really tired. Just like woman, don't wait until you see his hair falling out and there's financial help needed before you say, oh, babe, here, I have this. Those things should be across the board and shared. And it needs to be discussed at the beginning. Because if you both have careers, everybody's not willing to give it up. So, but you do want to do those things that contribute to the home because some of them are very sexy. They are very sexy. Ron, what do you think?
I agree to a certain extent. I just don't think, I think it's, there's no, we can't have, everybody doesn't have the same playbook. So we can't force certain things on certain people because certain people are not capable. It's like forcing a gay person not to be gay. Like if they're not attracted to, if a woman's not attracted to a man, we can't beat that into her. Yes, you are. Yes, you are. She is not capable of that. So it's like a lot of women and a lot of men nowadays are not capable of leading financially. They're just not. A lot of more women are though. A lot of women are capable of sitting in the house and being that, oh, I'm gonna do the cooking, I'm gonna do the cleaning. A lot of women are not capable of that. There's a lot of, and that's just being real about it. Ideally, we want everybody to do that, but everybody can't do that. We can't put people in a box, and that's the thing about the new progressive world. We got to realize that everybody is different. Every individual is different. We can't make everybody be the same way, and that's where you have these relationships that in the past have been fucked up because we try to make everybody do the same thing, and I don't think that's realistic.
You know where I think that came from? This just came into my brain, right? Now we have this open world, right? Now we have more opportunities. We can have careers. But before, this is the way I'm saying it was before, out of slavery. We could either be a maid, a woman could be a maid, a little more progressive, a teacher, a nurse. Those were the three things. For a man, it was the factory, the office job, those type of things. But generally for women, it was those things. With those things, you are home in time to still be mom. And as well, it really wasn't for passion, it was for survival. I think that we have lived in survival for so long that we don't even know how to answer questions and how to make things more beautiful because we're still speaking from a place of fear. So I still need these things to happen, even though I have these things, so that I can still feel safe. For men, I think that it's being able to have their wife at home, and knowing that that person is there for you. And then for women, it's knowing that your man works and that he's out there providing for your home. That matters. Even to the extent that some careers that men have, a woman won't want that man if it's not a career that in her mind is one that provides. And then equally, some men don't want women that overly work. I had a man tell me that I wasn't domesticated, which is a cat, when I was like in my last couple of years of getting my master's degree. But I didn't live with this man. I was dating him. I did things that extended and showed that I was a woman. However, I was taught, I believe, why I'm not treating you like a husband. You're not my husband. All of these things that I would do and I do, I have gotten up and cooked for my husband at 2 a.m. I have gotten up to see him up. Those type of things are for when you get married. And so many people, again, want to see so much so fast. And then there's the rest of us that are operating. And I think it should, if it looks like this, then it's right. If it looks like this, then it's safe. So much so that, to Ron's point, you don't see the person. You're not exactly playing on their strengths. But if it's something that you want, do you want it more than you want that person? Like, what can you see outside of that, or how can you compromise? And they do it sometimes. Some men that I know, they want it exactly their way, or they don't want that woman, and you're throwing away a good woman. And then women, I'll be looking like, that was a really good dude for you. And it's, well, they don't do what this person does. And I'm like, that's what the homegirl's husband does. So you telling me you want their husband? Because that man was perfect for you. He was amazing. You haven't even wanted for anything, but you can't see past what you want it to look like because that's what they got. We do have each other in boxes when it's so much out there.
I respectfully,
here's a real life example.
Yeah, that's why you communicate your wants and expectations to one another before you marry. As JoJo stated, I agree. These are good dialogues to have when you start dating somebody. That way it can be more specific and it can be ironed out. I agree.
I think a real life example of what I'm saying is.
Sorry, Joe. Go ahead.
Oh,
go ahead, brother.
Can you guys hear me? Oh yeah,
Yes.
I think I'm a little delayed. Okay. So a real life example quickly. I was speaking of. So, we try to live by other people's standards so much. So, for instance, there's some men out there who are nice in the kitchen and they love to cook and they love to clean, and that's their strength. And there's some women that are just bomb ass go getters that get deep in their career, deep in their bag, and they make all this bread. So let's say that woman mixed up with this man who has all these home qualities, that couple could be happy together if they weren't being judged by everybody else, and everybody else saying, "Oh, that nigga needs to get a job. He don't do this. He don't do that." But if that's what works for them, why can't we just celebrate them and let them do what works for them? A lot of people are afraid to live their truths because they want to live up to what everybody else think. And I think a lot of people lose a lot of good relationships and partners because they ashamed of what they people gonna say about him not having this or her not doing this or that. You got to do what works for you in a relationship and individually. Everyone is different. That's what gives us our individuality as human beings. Like different things work for different people, but we shame and we expect people to live to a certain standard that everybody else is, to the point where people can't even be themselves.
We miss out on a lot. We miss out on a lot. Okay, Jojo, are you frozen? Jesus.
No, I'm here. I'm listening and I'm not moving much, but I'm listening. I'm
Okay.
here. I'm here. It looks like I'm not moving. Again, my position
You want to say hi,
will
my skin godmom? Hey, this is my godmom, guys.
I
She's
got
light
mom.
skinned, but she don't act light skinned. And I'm not light skinned. I'm brownish. Brownish. Y'all write that down. Hashtag. Go ahead, Jojo.
That's all right. Again, my position will diverge slightly. You've made some
Your
great
position
points.
is great. Do you feel like you're defending your position? Let me stop right there. Your position is great. All of the dialogue is needed. You got to
No,
remember, we're talking so everybody can hear it. We
it is
got sense.
everybody.
Right.
I
Everybody
get
don't
it.
got sense. They need to
No, I
hear
get
some
it.
of these things.
Facts.
I just want to make sure you don't think we're like
No,
going
no,
against.
no,
Okay,
no, no,
good.
no, 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 no.
Perfect.
Because I guess what I'm really trying to say is sometimes the devil is in the details. So, for example, you made a point about the career and what if it's a passion and so on and so forth. Granted, but look, at the end of the day, you and the person you're with chose to have a family. In my opinion, in my opinion, I don't think there is enough room in this what's more important box to fit the family and the careers in that same box. At some point of time, these decisions, these conversations have to be made. Something has to take precedent. I highly doubt that on a balance of probability, if you had to deal with one, both your career and your family were both in peril, and you had to choose. I'm sorry, perhaps my
I would choose
upbringing
family.
conditions me exactly. And because of that mindset is why I can't certainly pretend that in the situation where I have the flexibility of prioritizing career, I would. But when it comes to family, I don't think I have that same flexibility. So if in that situation where family is what we wanted to do, if in order to accomplish that, you had to take a back seat so that I take up the slack. So we're both working at our jobs into these passions that we're doing. But you know what? You want to be able to, keep in touch with whatever it is you're doing. If you're doing some type of consulting, maybe you're not in your firm and you're not doing it in a full-time
Switch
capacity.
it up.
If you're going to do it part-time, and let me take the overtime for whatever it is I'm doing, no more 8 hours, 12, 14, 16, to make up for what's not coming in because you're not there. But because we do it because we understand 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock, whatever it is consulting you're doing, you need to kind of wrap it up so you can go pick up the kids, bring them home, make sure they're fed, so that I have to stay out a little longer, don't come home until after 6 or 7 or 8, take a second job, whatever needs to be done. And we understand that we're both making a sacrifice so that we can prioritize this family stuff. But we want to have this family, and we're both gone ho on over my career, your passion, my passion. I don't think we're giving the family part the best chances to survive. So that's why it's not so much what you said, it's the implication of that. That's why I'm saying the devil is in the details. How someone understands that your career is important, your passions are important, but head to head with family, I don't know too many people who can afford to have both. Most people are going to have to make a choice. And when I say make a choice, it doesn't mean one has to suffer. You're not doing it completely. It's just that you may have to take a back seat on one so that the other one can get all of the attention it deserves. I would put it towards family instead. I have a feeling that when you say what you say and you leave it like that without context, a lot of people then take what you say, which is a good thing to say, but they take it and don't know how to now have the wisdom to understand that what she means to say is, you prioritize the family. Obviously, you're not saying that you're completely giving up on your passions. Find ways to be involved. But I have a feeling that a lot of people mean, see, that means I'm going to choose my career. And then they choose their career and then family suffers.
No. So let me give an example. What I mean about that is that there are men that want you to completely let go of your career. Generally, you'll know that when you start dating them, though, because that's the language that they'll speak in and those type of things. If he says those type of things, there generally is a negotiation. So move away from that relationship. What I will say as a woman with a career, 52,000 degrees and $32 million in student loans, I love my career. It is my passion. However, I stepped down in my career. This is what planning, talking, communicating, and knowing what you want for yourself. I knew that at 40, okay, I need to start being ready to have a baby. Whether whomever it's with, it could be with Jesus, it could be like I'll be married, whatever. I want a family. So in this career that I took, I didn't apply for management roles that had teams. I applied to work from home. I applied with something that was really easy for me. So I could stay in my passion and still be fed, but also know in the back of my mind, this is a position that I have that if I needed to float, I can work from home. I could pick up the kids. I could still cook because I'm at home. You start planning and thinking about and preparing before things happen so that when it comes up, you don't feel like, to your point, I think JoJo said it last week, something is being snatched away from you. You don't feel like that. You don't feel like, well, how come I'm the one sacrificing? Because you waited to the last minute. Planning and being prepared and positioning yourself, like Ron said, slowing down, it is all the difference in the world because you're ready. So right now I have 32 jobs. I'm using myself as an example. I have 32 jobs, but would I let all of them go to be a mom? As long as I'm generating income and my family is okay, yes, I would. It's not even a question for me because I can feed my passion in other ways and I positioned myself. So those are the kind of conversations that you need to have, and you need to be true and honest to yourself, which also goes back to what Ron said, getting to know yourself and seeing what those things look like. People can be very stubborn. You can. And you can think that a man is telling you what to do when he is simply leading. And when he is simply saying, I'll do this part and you do that part, because here's the reality. Can he take time off and get pregnant? He can't. You're having the baby. Can you take your breasts off and give them to him so he can breastfeed so that your baby gets that touch? He can't. You have to. You have to think about some things logically before you become defensive and wrap it back up, miss out on what you could have. If that's what you want. If it's not, align yourself with the people that want the things you want so you don't feel like you're always sacrificing and losing something. But to JoJo's point, sacrifice is not a bad word. I sacrificed a lot of my 20s to get my education. I had to work full time and go to school. Those are sacrifices that I was willing to take because I wanted the end result. Now today, I have options. I opened up what I needed opened up so that I could live the type of lifestyle I wanted to lead. People are not willing to do what it takes, to your point and to Rama's point, as males and as leaders, to get what they want. They just want what they want, but then they want you to do it. That's not how it works. And you have to, if you're bringing something strong to the table, you have to be willing to accept what's strong at the table too. It's a two-way street on everything. But women do need to learn to be submissive, and men need to learn to be more explanatory.
Yeah, I'll just say this. It seems as though, well, if I can give a little secret here in my experience. We definitely saw a time where people in relationships, it was, most or some men, the my way or the highway type of guy. Secret, ladies, if you want to know if a guy is worth wanting to go that far with, try to gauge how willing he is to make things work in the small things. Someone who's definitely able to show in the small things his willingness to make things work. Now, it won't mean that you will get your way every time, and it won't mean that it's going to be 50-50 every time, but the opportunity is there and the willingness to want to make it work in the small things. I think that's a pretty good
indicator.
Because it seems as though everyone is looking for this guarantee, and there's no guarantee. This relationship stuff, it really isn't guaranteed. All you're doing is crisis management, risk management. That's all you're doing. All you're doing is risk management, and you're mitigating risk. That's all you're doing. So if you understand that your bottom margin will not be zero, then go from there. Just be able to find someone who, and you will see in the small things, is willing to work with you, trying to make you work in the small things. To me, that's a very good indicator of someone who's at least. Now, if he likes green and you like orange, and you think that's such a big deal that you don't want to deal with a guy like that, I guess good luck trying to find someone who's gonna again be willing to do that. But I think a good indication of someone who's going to be able to do this with you long term is to be able to gauge in the small things how willing that person is to make it work.
Okay. Ram, what would you like to say to wrap up our evening? I'm going to jump in the pool, guys. Probably with my clothes on.
Uh-oh. I thought
I would like to
some
say
skinny dipping involved.
No, leave me alone. Go.
I would like to say that I hope everyone that's listening keeps an open mind to receiving all this, insight. Like I said, take to JoJo's point, you got to take what you can. Like when you look at previous greats, you kind of learn and take something from everybody. So take something from everything that we all said tonight and see what applies to your situation. And be open-minded. I think the worst thing we could be is closed-minded and unwilling to receive information and unwilling to receive new things. Be open-minded and continue to let's have this dialogue within each other, even off camera, and take this to the next generation. Because at this point, I'm not saying it's hopeless for ours, but we are getting up there in age, and it's gonna be hard to teach your old dog new tricks. You know what I'm saying? Like JoJo said, it's done. You know what I'm saying?
So I think it's done.
Yeah, but the next generation. Yeah, like JoJo said, it's done. I was trying to be nice about it, but he went ahead and said it. So it's pretty much a wrap. You know what I mean? But the next generation, we could make sure that they're better than us. So let's focus on the next generation and try to change the narrative a little bit.
Absolutely.
We need to, because I'm praying over my womb, because whatever seed I have, I need it to come out with some sense. I just don't have the patience. I'm too old. I'm not trying to be in jail because I'm going to spare the rod and spoil. I'm not doing none of that. None of the spoil the child. None of it. Okay? I don't have time for it. Okay. What would you like to say, Joe?
Well, I think Ron said everything. I don't really got anything. He pretty much wrapped it up. He said he took the words right out of my mouth.
I agree.
Hey, that's what I'm talking about.
So I think I'm going to try to do an in-person for us in August if we have time. I'll try to make one of them in person. hopefully JoJo will be back next week as well. He can come back whenever he wants.
Every
He can
week.
stay. He can stay.
Anytime.
Every week.
He's
Anytime.
welcome. He's welcome.
Yes.
Except for when he has
Yes.
events, which by the way, I played hooky last week so that I could.
I appreciate the support. That was very much appreciated. Thank you
I
very
was like,
much.
yeah, I'm gonna go out tonight. I'm out of here.
I definitely got to check you out, JoJo.
Yes, sir. August 13th. Please, everybody come out. The Epic Event Center, Rancho Cucamonga. Please come check me out. See what I'm about.
Oh, that's bad. Okay. I didn't know you was up there. I'll be seeing a lot of my people up there, doing stuff.
Yes,
So,
sir.
I know.
Yes,
yeah.
sir.
Okay. Yeah.
So you should go.
Well, yes,
Yes,
sir.
sir.
Definitely. It's
August
out here by
13th.
me. I live out here, so it's out here
Okay,
by me.
good. Good.
Yeah.
Like I said, Epic Event Center, August 13th. Just come on now. It's gonna be a day party. I'm gonna be out there doing my thing, so you guys should come check me out.
Can you roll
That's
me
bad.
like a little one that looks cute? And then can you wrap it
I
in
got
pink
you.
glitter?
I got you.
And then I need my Hennessy, and then I need a special queen seat. I mean, I'm just
Okay,
saying.
I'm
I'm
gonna
just
get
saying.
the pink. I'll get the pink glitter for you.
I need full madam treatment. You
I
know,
got you. I
I'm
got
just
you.
saying.
I got you.
Special
I
guest,
got
put it on the flyer. All that shit.
I
So
got
I
you.
am going to come through, and I am going to actually tell my family because they are cigar smokers and they like that type of thing. So I will bring them
Appreciate that.
with me.
I
You're
appreciate the
welcome.
support. Thank you
You
so
are
much.
welcome. So make sure you follow all of us. Make sure you subscribe to me on YouTube and share. And then make sure you follow the famous homie and also JoJo on IG, all the social media platforms, actually. And those cigars, let me tell you, you'll like them. You'll like them. They're special. I'm just saying. So that is it from us
Thank you.
tonight. Thank you for
Thank you.
joining. Hopefully you let your guard down a little bit, look in the mirror, see what you need to fix. Because girl, your homegirl's lying to you. You're not the shit. You need to fix some shit. And nigga, you ain't top flight because you make money because she got money, but your money is better. I like your money, sir. So if you treat us right, we'll stay at home and we'll cook. Might even cook naked. But that's by the way. That's between you and me.
Hey.
I'm just saying, who likes clothes? I'm about to go jump in the pool. That's it. So everybody have a good night, and we will see you
Good
next
night.
week. Bye. You want to say bye, Sonny? Okay, she won't even say anything. All right. Good night.
Good night.